Hello, everyone. Today we have to start with our new poem that is London, written by William Blake. I have put the lines of the poem in blue color. So let us start. I wander through each chartered street, near where the chartered Thames does flow, and mark in every face I meet marks of weakness, marks of woe. So, in these lines, the poet is talking about the city of London. Okay, so there is one thing that we must discuss is that during the 18th century, London was a seat of commerce. Means it was the commercial center. It was a very large market. Okay, there were industries, there were the flow, it was the center for the flow of money. Okay, it means that in the city of London, people who lived in majority were aristocrats or high class people, rich people. So rich people at that time had occupied or had overpowered the city of London, and they forbidden the poor people even to enter into the city. Okay, so here the word charter means to draw boundaries. So these boundaries were drawn by the rich people so that the poor people cannot enter into the city and can destroy the order which was maintained by the aristocrats. See, here is an example. The cities or the villages, the roads, the it can be highways or it can be the narrow streets. Every street is a public street, is a public area. Anybody can enter, anybody can walk on a street, anybody can use the road. But at that time, during 18th century, London was not an open place. As I have told you, it was ruled by the rich people. So it means that London was chartered or was demarcated by the rich people so that the poor cannot enter into it. So uh, there was lack of freedom of ownership. Ownership here means to walk on the public streets. Okay. See, the city at that time, according to the aristocrats, was well ordered, and it was ordered because the poor were not allowed in the city. Okay. So now the streets were chartered, means the street or this the poor people were not allowed to walk on the streets. And Thames. Thames is the river which is basis of the city of London. So Thames River was also chartered. Okay. It means the poor people were not allowed to uh, to go near the river. Okay. So the poet in the first two lines has observed that the streets and the river Thames, which flows in the city of London, has been demarcated, has been chartered by the aristocrats or overpowered by the aristocrats. Then the second thing what he observes is that marks on the faces of poor people, and those marks or signs are of weakness and of woe. Woe means unhappiness or problems. So the poor people are not happy in the city, are they have a lot of problems in their lives. The second thing is that we should notice is that why the poor people are weak. The first reason is they do not have money. They do not have the power of money. That is why they are weak. Secondly, they are weak because because they are made to live in such conditions. Okay, they cannot think outside poverty. So the second para is now like this: in every cry of every man, in every infant's cry of fear, in every voice, in every band, the mind forged manacles I hear. So, firstly, the poet says that every man, every person can be a man or an infant or a child. Everybody, everyone who is living in poverty is unhappy. Okay, so they are every poor person is crying. Okay, then the poet says in every voice, in every ban. So ban is to refuse to allow. Here, the poor people are not allowed to enter into the city of London, so they are banned from there. So this ban is imposed on the physical presence of the poor people as well as on the mental presence. Okay, so the chains are imposed by the authority and the poor people on themselves. This line means that firstly, the authority or the aristocrats have imposed chains or ban on the entry of the poor people, and then the poor people themselves are not in the condition to speak against the authority or the rich people. So even the poor people have imposed ban on themselves. Okay. See, the poor people have been restricted physically and their consciousness has been manacled too. So let me tell you what is the meaning of manacle here. Manacle, actually, we can call them in Hindi hatkadi. Do you know what is a hatkadi? So manacles are chains, okay, which are put in the hands of the prisoners and put in their feet as well. And in those chains, there is hanging a very heavy ball of a metal, okay, which uh, which doesn't allow the prisoners to escape from the jail. Now here there is a phrase, mind forged manacles. It means the consciousness of the poor people has been manacled or has been put in the chains. They cannot think anything outside poverty. They have managed to accept their poverty as the ultimate goal of their life. Okay. See, here we can say that the word chartered, which we had read in the earlier in the first para or stanza, and here the mind forged manacles, this phrase, are interconnected. Because firstly, the aristocrats or the rich people made the poor people to live outside the city. Now, the mindset of the poor people has become so that they cannot live outside poverty. They cannot manage to go inside the city of London and talk against the rich people. Again, we can say that the city is well ordered only because the tyranny of the charters, those who have drawn the boundaries, means the aristocrats. Okay, so the next two stanzas will be discussed in the next video. Thank you for listening.